What time did you get here this morning?
We got here probably a little bit before 5.
They let you inside the door at 5, or did you have to wait?
We had to wait outside, and we were right in the front of the door, so the wind wasn't really blowing, so it wasn't really that cold.
Texas is one of the most hands-on conferences that you can go to. You know what I'm saying? Because Chicago is so packed with people. Los Angeles is like, you know what I'm saying? Ours is one of those ones where it's still got that small con feel to it.
Please proceed in orderly fashion if you need tickets. We just started the line. Select the winner tomorrow. Someone has their tickets. To your left. To your left.
Everybody's real open in a comic book shop. You don't have fear about being persecuted by, you know, whether or not you want to dress up as a Jedi or wear a Thor helmet.
I'm Eric Hendrickson.
Tell me about your costume real quick.
I'm Captain Reynolds from the movie Serenity.
Serenity, okay.
And I'm Elizabeth Sessler. I'm Inara from Serenity.
Okay, excellent. So are you going to get the autographed Summer Glau?
Yeah, he's getting Summer Glau. I'm getting Ron Perlman.
Okay.
Yes, I won the tickets on the radio.
Okay.
I've come to the Wizard World in Chicago twice.
Where are y'all from?
We're from here.
You're from here. Did you made this costume yourself?
I made my costume and I made his costume.
Excellent.
He's Captain Tight Pants.
Captain.
And I started making this at the beginning of October.
Okay.
And spent about $100 on the fabric alone. So
what's the total? I'll say what's the total cost of both costumes put together?
Total cost of his is what, $20?
Yeah, at most.
A lot cheaper than yours, probably.
Yeah, total cost of mine, including all of my belly dancing stuff. I used to be a belly dancer, which is why I have all of the equipment. Total cost of mine's probably about $150.
Well, I like the comic books. And the art on the comic books about like Superman and Spider-Man. I love all those because I like the comic book drawings because those are so cool.
So you're a comic book fan?
Yeah, I like the drawings. I like to just flip through the books and look at the drawings, and I want to get signed over there.
This is kind of a cross. It's an Imperial officer just because it's got the still, but everybody wanted to see my Fleet Trooper helmet.
Movie Aliens 1986 by James Cameron. This is the United States Colonial Marine Corps M3 armor with the M418 pulse rifle. Generally made most of it myself, but the armor and the pulse rifle were kits that were done. And also we've got a licensed prop here, the Master Replica's motion tracker. But everything else personalized, customized, good to go. Hoorah!
This costume is a shock trooper from episode 3. That's the Coruscant division where they're the sole guards for the Chancellor.
This is Indoor Leia from Return of the Jedi. I actually threw this together in about 2 weeks in between work, and It's with all of my costumes. This is the first version of it, so I'm going to be tweaking it later on.
It's a Colonial Marine outfit from the James Cameron movie Aliens.
I have episode 2, Dorme. She's a handmaiden to Padme. I love purple. She has purple, and well, handmaidens are the unspoken characters. I'd love to see something on the stories of a handmaiden.
I am wearing an Imperial Royal Guard in service of the Emperor. We are the protectors, the guards of Palpatine himself. We were also in charge of Senate security, which was basically for the Chancellor at the time.
One of the things that I've found in dealing with costumed personalities, shall we say, is that the people that dress up in costumes at these conventions, I think there's sort of this immediate feeling that they're very strange people and that they have problems and that, they must really have a screw loose to be wearing these outfits. The truth of the matter is that these people take it very seriously, and it's something that to them is really important, and they want to make sure that they do the best job that they can on their costume. I've seen some amazing outfits, and these are outfits that are homemade, that people have put together with their spare time. There's no way you could buy this off the rack. There's no way you could walk into a Halloween store and purchase it. These people really take this very seriously, and it means a lot to them to have that time and that experience where they can dress up like that. It even goes beyond, to a certain extent, what some people consider for Halloween, because Halloween is a time of the year when you can dress up, and it's like that one day out of the year when you get to be somebody that you're not. Well, this goes beyond that, because this is not only dressing up like somebody that you want to dress up as, this is sharing your fandom and sharing your enthusiasm with other people. And one of the things that I have discovered in talking with a lot of the people that deal with costuming, or what is known in the convention industry as cosplay, these people really are kind of like a family with one another. A lot of the people that dress up in costumes at these shows, they all know each other. You can go as far as, London, UK, wherever, and you'll see people that, if they see a photo of someone in costume, they'll say, oh yeah, I know that person, that's a good friend or whatever. It's like a close-knit family in a lot of ways. And so, and I think that people, they appreciate the fact that when they go to these shows that people will stop them and want to get their photo taken with them, or just go up to them and say, that's a really cool costume, you look just like him, or something like that. Especially the Star Wars people. The Star Wars people are very, very serious about what they do, and to the point of where they have groups like the 501st, which is a group of stormtroopers that spans all over the world, and I can't remember how many members it's made up of, but it's several hundred members. And their costumes are exact in every detail, and you will never see a sloppy stormtrooper costume, because they just don't want to allow that in their group.
But the 501st we mostly do is we do a lot of charity events, as far as we go to children's hospitals, cheer up kids with terminal cancer, things like that, and then we get dressed up and do geeky things like this. So it's a lot of fun.
So mainly in it, because the 501st is a charity organization, so mainly in it for that. Like I did the Toys for Tots, that's really the best part, when you see the little kids running around. And their dads, the little kids too.
Just the way people, they want to take a picture with you and they say that's cool. And it lets me know that money I invested was well worth it. So.
Just love doing it. The look in kids' faces when you walk past. I've also got the Biker Scout from Return of the Jedi, and when kids see you and you just put your thumbs up, the look on their face is just well worth it. Makes it all worthwhile.
And the funny thing is, we actually use a lot of these guys as volunteers at the show, and they do a great job. They take their job very seriously. They take their costuming very seriously. So the one thing I would say about people that dress up in costume is that while some people can look at that and perceive it as a joke, it's really not a joke, at least not to them.
No, before I was like, the people dress up are nerds, and when you get down to it, we are. But, it's fun, so who cares? I don't.
My favorite part of the convention is actually all the fans. Because, you look around, you don't know anybody in here, but it depends on whatever you like. You have something in common. If it's Star Wars, if it's Star Trek, if it's Andromeda, it doesn't matter what it is. That brings you guys together,
I think that the people are very real and mostly just having a really good time. And I don't think there's anything more fun today than people that can just have a good time doing whatever hobby it is they've decided to do, and that they're just enjoying themselves. And to me, it's really an honor
the people I meet, well, I meet people from all walks of life. There was one gentleman who came up, and he was a short, stocky, hairy guy, maybe in his 50s, dressed as a cheerleader. Okay, what three-day growth beard though. Dressed as a cheerleader with, you know, mesh stockings and whatever. And he asked to have his picture taken with me, and I said, sure. And then he had the picture taken, and then he said, "You're really great." You know that was a bit strange.
What have you seen so far that you really enjoyed?
Sean Astin.
Sean Astin got the autograph, didn't
Oh,
you?
yes.
Okay. So now tell us, did you come here just for Sean Astin?
Oh, yes, I did.
Oh, yes?
Yes.
How many conventions have you been to?
You know, I was sort of wondering about that yesterday. I think probably 20, 25 conventions.
All since Lord of the Rings? Or before?
Yeah, no, I had never been to a convention before Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
If you would have asked what a convention was, I would have thought it was, you know, the Lions Lodge, or the, you know, it would have been something out of, what are those things that Ralph Cramden is a member of? The
Masonic
Masonic, yeah, like the Masonic lodges, yeah, exactly. Or the, what are the other guys? There's the Masons, and then there's the Shriners. Yeah, I would have thought you were talking about Shriners, exactly. You know, you see such variety of people. I mean, if I was being totally candid, the economics of the convention circuit are what really keep actors and people who are in them coming. So what you end up, which is kind of a cruddy way to think about it, but it's true. And I think the more convention goers, or people who really want to understand the convention kind of world, understand about that, the more you can actually enjoy the other aspects of it. So to me, there's this kind of really important responsibility, because what you're doing is commodifying, you know, little moments in time or your own image. And when you do that, you kind of, I look at it as a kind of, the crossbar set pretty high. I have to kind of deliver something for that money, you know what I mean? And I kind of want to deliver some real part of myself to someone else. And it's somewhat like, you know, going to a play or something like that, where you're paying to see somebody perform, but it's not staged. So I guess the thing that's the most fun about it is there's a level of kind of excitement that comes from kind of being in a moment where you realize there's an expectation to kind of be, I don't know, what I kind of interpret as charismatic, or being kind of engaged or involved with whoever it is that you're interacting with, and the fact that there's no script for it. It's real, and that's kind of gives you a little bit of an adrenaline charge. It really gives me an adrenaline charge. I mean, the obvious answer would just be all the different kinds of people with what they dress up in, and before I got on the plane to come here to Dallas for this particular one, I was thinking about, there's such adulation that people kind of heap on you, and it's sincere and it's heartfelt almost all the time, and yet you can't live in that space of, oh, tell me how great I am again. Yes, oh, yes, and I was brilliant in that performance. And wasn't that moment in that movie, didn't it just... And yet, for each individual person, you know, the Lord of the Rings movies impacted them. They felt something. So when they're getting their moment to express to you how much it meant to them, it's real. You know, it's the first time they've done that. So just because I've had 40, 50,000 interactions like that, you have to honor that this moment is its own real moment. And what I realized was, sometimes when you're in the grind of working and you haven't been to a convention in five months or something, you don't hear in my daily life, I don't hear people saying to me, you know, gosh, you're so great, thank you so much for doing this, and you know, whatever. So you kind of realize, yeah, it's a pretty nice thing actually to have people heaping compliments on you. You know, you see some odd. It's usually when there's a crossover from. You see somebody who's sort of should be at the fetish convention, you know, and they've sort of shown up because they also have a passing interest in a particular comic book series or something like that. Yeah, you know, I think my normal has skewed, because I see things and I just kind of, I sort of expect that to be going on at a convention. Different costumes, different clothes, different attitudes. You realize, it reminds you how not just how powerful movies and television are, but how specific and resourceful people are at taking movies and using them. It's like if you need if you need an antibiotic, you go to the doctor. If you need some sort of an emotional thing, you can go to any one of a dozen movies. And people use, so it's almost like their video closet or their DVD collection is a medicine kit. But Sean Astin fans, I was sort of joking with the creative executive from New Line before the last big publicity blitz for Lord of the Rings, when the third movie was coming out. And I was saying, well, the chicks who dig like really rugged guys, they like Vigo, and girls who love that sort of sweet, porcelain skin, perfect looking, they like Orlando, and girls who kind of have that little, I don't know, kinky something where they go right for Elijah. And he looked at me and he said, yes, but if girls want their man true, they go to Sean. And I was like, I like that. That's good. That's good. That's good. Did I just say that if girls like someone kinky, they go for Elijah?